Hello, I'm Brian Critchell and I'm here today with Tim Jones, Chief Executive of Nest. Tim, thanks for inviting us.
You're welcome.
Thank you. When I interviewed you last year, before the general election, you said that every working adult should have the opportunity to save for their retirement. You believe this was the justification for Nest, or personal accounts as it was then known. Now, following their post-election review, the government appear to have agreed with you, on the surface at least, although the review has altered some of the terms of the original concept and scope slightly. So what do you think about the changes? Are they going to have a major impact on Nest?
Well, I think the first thing to say is that we are absolutely delighted that the review came through with a strong recommendation that Nest should be part of the new world of workplace pensions. We're obviously very pleased with that, and we'd arranged to be able to be busy through that review period. And so we were busy and we've continued to be busy. Now, one of the things that we're doing now is looking at those proposed changes, such as the waiting period of up to 3 months, for example. And like other schemes, we will assess them as the detail around them comes through. But we don't see anything in the changes that materially affects the role of Nest, so we're basically broadly content.
Okay. Well, there have been lots of changes in the pensions world apart from those features, and there's more to come. We're now looking at a faster increase in the state pension age, a potential flat rate state pension for all, and proposals for early access to pension pots. There's the removal of the annuitisation at 75 proposal to look at as well. Now, that's quite a lot to have on your agenda. So how are you going to cope with these changes?
Okay, well, at a very practical level, Nest is going to be an occupational pension scheme like any other, and it'll be regulated by the pensions regulator like any other. And so we've got to be ready to go with the way the world changes. And so, for example, in our contract with TCS, with Tata Consultancy Services, who are going to provide our scheme administration, we've got a change budget, and we've got a procedure for change, loosely called change control, so that we can change as the world changes. Because one of the things I've learned, this is my first job in pensions, and nothing seems to stay still for very long. So we clearly are anticipating the world of pensions continuing to evolve, and as we become more established, we expect to play our full part in those debates, and then we'll evolve alongside the rest of the industry as the world changes.
Subject to being able to manage that both economically and of course, presumably from an organisational perspective.
Yeah, and that's no different from the challenge that would face any other pension scheme. I mean, the fundamental about Nest is it's a pension scheme. It's been set up, being set up through the government, but it's going to be an independent occupational pension scheme, and it's got a budget to cope with change like any other would have. So the stresses and strains that change might bring on us will also be there for all other members of the pension community.
I'm glad you mentioned that point about being just another pension scheme, because imitation is said to be the sincerest form of flattery, and there are now moves afoot amongst larger employers and pension providers, backed by the NAPF, who are heavyweight in the business, to establish collective DC schemes to meet their auto-enrolment requirements. I guess they've been looking at the successful models in other countries to do this. So do you really welcome this potential competition, particularly if it might reduce the number of people that form your potential client base?
Well, basically yes, because we're not here to compete. You know, we're here to sit alongside the private provision that will come from the contract-based market and from occupational pension schemes, whether they're individual ones or master trusts or multi-employer ones. So it was always going to be the case that the industry would respond to the automatic enrolment reforms. Now, we are being created to be there for any employer, big or small, that wants to use us for any part of their response to the duties. But it was always my anticipation that there would be a variety of responses to this new opportunity. I mean, from an industry perspective, what automatic enrolment means is that the overall size of the occupational pensions market dramatically increases. And we don't anticipate that Nest is going to take all of that increase. A significant proportion of that increase will fall to the private sector, either to existing products from existing providers as they expand their coverage where they're already serving a corporate, or from new products. And in fact, I'm going to be very interested to see through 2011 exactly what new products come out in the period before automatic enrolment kicks in 2012.
Yeah, well, I'm with you on that. I think we all want to see what the market does. Despite losing zillions on stakeholder pensions, it's clear there's still an appetite for competition. But what happens if they take away what commercially would be regarded as a favourable audience, and you're left with all the small businesses and very, very tiny pension pots? Isn't that just going to make your life more difficult?
Well, we run a model, as you'd expect, and the model basically says how small does Nest have to get before it looks as though it might have a question mark over its viability. And the good news is that as we run more pessimistic projections about what business will come our way, even our most pessimistic projections are comfortably above our viability minimum. And I've said this a number of times publicly, happy to say it again, that I would look to have 2 million or so members in Nest at the end of the staging period, and at the moment that feels like a viable number. If we end up with significantly less than 2 million, we'll have to see what the economics look like at the time. But our range we've talked about publicly is 2 to 4 to 5 to 6. So 2 would be at the bottom and below our pessimistic scenarios where we think we'll end up. So the prospects for poorer people in Nest are very good from the outset, and depending on where charging goes, extremely good in the long-term future. And this is a long-term product. This is a product that's being established for decades to come, not for months or years to come.
Okay, Tim, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you.
There's clearly more to do, as you say. I hope that we might have an opportunity to come and talk to you again towards the end of the first phase and see how you're going.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you for watching today. I hope you found it interesting and informative, and as usual we look forward to your comments fed back to us on the website. Goodbye.